Okay, we have Pat Place here today. Thanks for coming on, Pat.
Oh, my pleasure, Dennis.
And this is actually we're on the 13th broadcast already, so we're really moving along with a lot of great guests and people from that whole era that I'm really excited to talk to, like yourself. So I wanted to start off like, how'd you get involved with music and what drew you to New York?
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I came to New York as a visual artist in 1975, fresh out of art school
Oh, okay.
from Chicago. And I was finishing up at Skidmore College. I had a little summer program thing, and I met some kids, art students that were living down in Soho here. And they said, come on down. And in Lower Manhattan. And I went and never left.
Yeah, that's a vibrant part of the time frame too. 75, 76, when CBGBs was starting, Max's Kansas City. Wow.
Yep, yes, it was. And I kind of, came with the intention of being a visual artist. And I got swept up in those scenes, starting going to
Right.
CBGBs and Max's. You could go every night, and there was something great happening.
I'm sure. Now, did you start playing with James Chance first, or was that later?
No, yeah, no, James was the first. I was just kind of hanging out at CBGB's, and it was what, like 1977, I think, when
Okay.
he had been playing with Lydia and Teenage Jesus, the first formation of Teenage Jesus,
Oh, okay.
and then us, for whatever reason, that wasn't working out, and he decided he wanted to do his own thing. So, I'd been just hanging out at CB's, seeing on any given night some great band, and
No, I'm sure.
also at that time, no wave, like, Mars was kind of the first of those bands that were they
Hmm.
I think they started in like 74 or something crazy.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
because go ahead.
yeah, what were you gonna say?
Oh, well, Mars, I just spoke to Mark Cunningham. That
Oh,
was one of the
cool.
first interviews, and I didn't realize, he was that part of Mars, on that scene.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
so go ahead.
yeah. And he still living in Barcelona?
Yep, he's been there for a while now,
Yeah,
and he's still doing music.
that's
Nothing
great.
stops him. He's a fantastic player,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's so great to see him and still doing it. So you got in
absolutely.
James Chance. How long were you playing in that band? Was it a couple years?
Yeah, I think I was with in the Contortions from their first gig, which was around probably 77 at some point. And I worked with James, and there were like different formations until it kind of settled on the original group, which was George Scott on bass and Donnie Christensen on drums
Hmm.
and Jody Harrison on guitar and Adele Bertay for a while on keyboards and me on the other guitar and slide guitar. But Adele left the band, and then it was just the five of us. And
Okay.
then George, that was a whole, drama with that happened while we were recording by the Contortions.
No.
George kind of left or got thrown out or whatever. However, whatever
Hmm.
version you like to
Oh
believe.
boy.
Yeah, and well, it's typical, right? With bands, especially. I mean, we were so young. We were in our early 20s, really. It was
Yeah.
kind of, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and so yeah, and then that was that lineup until I think our last gig was in Paris in the spring of 1979
Okay. Wow. And
with
then you got in. Then how did you find Ed at 99 Records? What interesting because Too Many Creeps is a great song. It is. You guys were one of the first bands on that label.
yeah, what it was us and ESG, I think, were the first bands,
And
right?
then Glenn Bronco was also
Glenn
one of
was,
the
yeah,
first.
right. That's right. Yep. Um, yeah. So when the Contortions broke up, I was living with Laura Kennedy, and she knew Dee somehow. As a matter of fact, this is kind of a funny, odd, fun fact. On By the Contortions, there's a picture on the back, or maybe it's the front. No, it's the back, and of James. We're playing a live gig, and D Pop is sitting on the stage, and he's in the picture on the record. I didn't know him at the time, but it's just an odd,
Yeah.
kind of synchronicity, coincidence, whatever. But so anyway, Laura somehow knew Dee, and we just decided to start jamming with Dee. And after the Contortions broke up, and Laura was living with Laura, she played bass, and we had a variety of Adele Bertay sang with us originally, and then Cynthia came in.
Oh, wow.
Cynthia was kind of just, my best friend, and she was designing clothes for Lydia, excuse me, and Annie Lennox and people doing that. And we convinced her to come in and sing. But anyway, so yeah, Dee was, he started off writing about music.
Oh, okay.
He was way into all sorts of different music, and was hanging out at 99 Records because they had such cool stuff. And so he got to know Ed, and I think Ed was coming to our early show. And very soon after, he threw us in the studio, and we recorded, and that was in 1980.
Wow.
We recorded Too Many Creeps. What else was on that? Tropics and Snakes Crawl, which were some of the first songs we wrote.
Yeah, Ed was a master in the studio, though. He had such an ear for music and what was going to be played in the clubs. And then you had Bill, his brother, working at Haraz at the time, so that was exciting. I mean, we left Ed a tape. Richard and Sal were hanging out at the store, and he came to see us at Tier 3, and that's how we got.
Was where our first gig was. Yeah.
How about that? And after that, he liked us, and then we got the gig at Haraz, and from there we got all the club. Well, because he had such an in at the clubs. We were always playing at Danceteria, Haraz, Mud Club, everywhere.
Yeah.
So we were very fortunate.
Yeah.
We were at a great time period, I thought, in music, and Ed was the epicenter of that whole scene.
He really was. He really captured it.
It gravitated to Ed, in that store, and he would always get those English records first, those Pig Bag and all those other type of bands. Then plus a lot of dub stuff. I mean, dub and reggae was really happening back then.
Oh yeah. It was such a moment because it was kind of after punk, but we were still influenced by punk.
Oh, okay.
And also, no wave was kind of really officially kind of over. I mean, pretty much by 1980. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that kind of nihilistic idea behind no wave of those bands. I mean, I think DNA went on for a while, and some of the other bands, but it was an interesting transition to the kind of music that you guys, Liquid was playing, and we were playing because. I mean, I with James, we were the only kind of no wave band that had kind of a beat to it. It wasn't completely, anarchistic or deconstructing music. And I took from that, and I think that was the era coming from England too, of this more danceable stuff, taking these no wave ideas of the kind of deconstructing music and putting a beat to it. Because we still didn't know how to play, but we kind of knew how we wanted to sound.
And plus the influence of world music, I think, was really big because we were heavy into Fela.
Yep.
And we were into like a lot of dub stuff. Yep. So it was a big influence on Liquid, I think.
Oh yeah.
We were listening to a lot of Fela, and we were getting that influence from the city, and from that, and then Sal kind of contrived his own sound of the way to sing, and that I thought was a big distinction with our group was his vocals.
Yeah, because his vocals were kind of more like almost an instrument,
Right,
a rhythmic instrument, because you guys were all
exactly.
about the percussion.
And he would put a lot of delay on his. He had this little delay box, and he would play with that during the shows. But for some crazy reason, I never really understood a lot what he said. It was, you're right, a lot of I didn't. Mostly vowels. Slipping and
Yeah.
a phenomena is the only thing I could remember from that period. You know, other than that, I wanted to show you something here. Did you ever see this book by Catherine? I'll put it up here. Did you
Um,
know her? Catherine Cursol? You're in this book, and it's a book of all new wave artists from that era. Well, it's this way. I don't know if you
I'm gonna
remember.
write it
You know,
down.
there's a lot of bands in here. You're in here. I'll have to find the page, but yeah,
Beauty.
they had a lot of things in.
Oh,
It's
cool.
Cresole. Her name is Catherine. She just passed away last year. She was
Oh,
from Switzerland, and she did a lot of photography in that period. So you may want to look for that book. It's a big book.
yeah, no, I'm definitely going to.
Yeah, you're in it on one of the pages. Thurston Moore's in it. Everybody from that
Cool.
whole era in New
Well,
York.
it's funny because in the 90s, um, the Bush Tetras put out a CD called Beauty Lies, and yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you know what? I've always wanted to ask you, Dennis, when
What's
that
that?
debacle happened with Cavern and Grandmaster Flash, what? How did you guys feel about that?
Well, at first we felt kind of um, it was a big shock to me, and I think the band that they used the song. So we were kind of surprised. It was surprising and shocking, but we kind of got over it. I did anyway after a while, but it was quite a big surprise to hear it on WKTU. Right? Who would ever thought? I never thought we were ever a dance club band like that. You know, we were alternative music, but it was
Right.
shocking. I think it was the end of '99 too.
It
That was
was.
the start of the end. I think
It
Ed
was.
ran out of money, and I don't know the full story. Somebody's put stuff on the internet about it. I don't know if it's true, some of the stories, but what I have a feeling he might have ran out of money. So maybe trying to sue. I don't know. I have no
Well,
idea.
yeah, I mean, it was funny because it was sort of unclear for years, like why, what happened to 99 Records?
Right.
Where did Ed go? But yeah,
Ed's
from
still
what I,
alive. He's in Brooklyn now. He's still
yeah,
alive. I don't know
yeah,
what he's doing. I
but
don't know, but
he's not like, I know, his brother's around, and we've been in touch, and I've seen him recently, but yeah, Ed's kind of disappeared.
yeah, I keep in touch with Bill.
Yeah.
He's a musicologist there. I
Hmm.
went to his place once, and it was great. He's got all these rare box sets of things, and he's a music collector too. But he I don't think the story was about hoodlums coming to the place. I don't know. I wish I knew the true story, but that'll be left to be determined. Maybe somebody someday will come out with it. I don't know.
I thought it was something. So okay, so they sampled you, right? They sampled because
They
that's complete.
sampled the drums.
They didn't
Well,
even like
they
recreate the bass line. They sampled it, right?
right. Well, they took the bass line, they took the drums, and copied it.
And they took the vocal because white lines and he's
It's,
saying "What's up" or something like that,
it's
right?
the same
But it's
rhythm.
the same rhythm, and he even said they even used phenomena in
Right.
lyric.
Right.
So, okay, so that's pretty straightforward sampling,
It
which
is.
happens all the time,
Oh yeah.
but they're supposed to pay you, which
And
those were
right.
the
And
early days of sampling. So maybe
exactly.
they thought
Exactly.
they
And
could get away with it.
well, they did because we were small guys, you know. They and Sugar Hill, I think, went out of business. They declared bankruptcy
Well,
after that, so we
so
were ever
that's
able to collect.
right. That's what I heard is that I guess Ed spent a lot of money
Yep.
suing Sugar Hill and then he actually won. And then Sugar Hill declared bankruptcy.
Right. That's what I think really happened.
What?
And then he probably got frustrated, and because we were the last record put out. Dig We Must was the last
Yeah,
9/9 record.
yeah.
And
I
that was never reissued, so I don't know. That's a rare record now. So that's what I think happened. But
you,
we did do reunion shows, though. We did play
you played in the night.
2003, 2008, 2009, and 10.
Oh,
But
cool.
that was great. We had a lot of fun. So you're still
Thank-
playing with Bush Tetras, right?
um, well, yeah.
So when they
We
ask you to play, you do occasional shows. Is that what it is?
well we so Dee, our original drummer Dee Pop, died about 2.5, 3 years ago, and we had some songs that we had started writing with him, and then Cynthia and I, Cynthia Slay, the singer, and I started had written started writing, and then the pandemic happened, and
Right.
we kept writing and writing, and then at the same time we were putting together a compilation album that Wharf Cat Records put out of all of our old stuff, because we never really made albums. um,
Right. Okay.
so they made a really nice collection for us. We were working on that, and Dee was behind that and contributing. Anyway, just as that was coming out, Dee passed, and
Yeah.
it was really, it was a difficult moment for
I
us.
imagine it was. I know.
Yeah, I mean, because we were together on and off for like 40 years, and with
Wow.
Dee, I mean, Laura passed a long time ago, but and we have had several different bass players, but mostly Julia Murphy in the 90s. We made a record with her in the late 90s. But anyway, so this, now going back to this last record that we made, we had started writing, and Cynthia and I had the stuff, and we just said, okay, Dee's gone, this is over. But
Right.
somehow Cynthia got in touch with Steve Shelley from Sonic Youth, and he just happened to be available and said,
Oh, okay.
sure, I'd love to come in and jam. And things went really well with him. He's really fun he's great drummer, really fun to work with. So we finished writing the songs with him and wrote some new ones with him, and made an
Okay.
album with him, which we put out a couple years ago, called They Live in My Head. And so we toured a little bit. We just actually toured Europe in the fall for
Oh, okay.
weeks with Steve, and then we have Kate O'Riordan, or Catch. She liked her. We go by Rocky O'Riordan, the bass player from the Pogues, the original
Oh,
Pogues.
okay.
So
Oh, that's good.
she was on bass. So we had an amazing rhythm section
I can
for
imagine.
that tour, and we've been playing with that lineup and done several gigs. But we're doing one more we're doing the John Waters Festival, Mosswood Meltdown, in July
Oh, wow. That's
8th,
great.
but don't have much else booked. Cynthia just had a little health issue and ended up in the hospital, so
Oh,
kind of laying low right now.
we had a lot of one-off shows. Even during the early Liquid Day, we'd fly out to San Francisco for a show,
Yeah,
or fly out to Chicago, one gig. And
yeah.
then the crazy thing, we went all the way to Norway for
Oh,
one gig.
for a
And that,
festival.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was I didn't think was very good. We was in this town in the middle of nowhere, a beautiful place. I mean, you can't ask for a more beautiful place, but it didn't seem like to be happening.
Oh,
So that was kind of strange. And then we played a Halloween show in London. That was kind of strange. So we had, hit and miss shows, but a lot of one-offs that were just wacky to go all the way to Europe for one gig and fly back.
I've done that with the Contortions in the 2000s and the Bush Tetras. We played we played a couple times the Primavera in Barcelona,
Oh, okay.
That's a fun one to
Oh,
do.
we did. That was one of our best reunion shows. What a great place. Did
Oh
they have
yeah,
you stay at that hotel right by right near the place where you play?
yeah. Were
There's a
you
hotel right there.
when it was on the water? Near the
Right.
water? Yeah, yeah, yep.
That was great. You go downstairs, you see everybody that's playing. It's quite a place. But yeah, that was one of our best shows. That was in, wow, 2009 already. It's flown by.
Mm,
So there's
um,
been no talk of us playing again, maybe some more compilations, but the
mm,
music is still standing up. Yours too. I mean, you have classics. And now, do
yeah.
you get any? How are the crowds at these shows? Are they? Do you get good
Um,
crowds?
yeah, the festivals are always good. Yeah, the European was mixed, very mixed. Um,
Okay,
but it really has to do with how much press you can get in advance.
right.
I mean, really, that's what it's about so
Oh, of
much.
course. Yeah.
And
What?
and so if you don't have that in place, then you're just going to get whoever might know about you in that particular town or whatever, just show up. But all the shows were good and it was fun. I hadn't been on a tour like that in a really long time. As a matter of fact, I watched your interview with Richie Barone. It was
Oh, what'd
fun.
you think of that? Oh, that was good, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
he's
never knew about his beginnings. It was really fascinating. I mean,
yeah,
all the way from Florida and this whole story. What a great guy. I mean, I
yeah,
lost track of a lot of these people, so I really didn't know any about his history. I was going to play with the bongos once at Bottom Line, but I was busy. I love that place, the Bottom Line. I used to go to a lot of shows there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't
We
realize.
there. It's cool. It was a cool place. Yeah,
Now, do you own your songs or you publish it?
yeah. We do.
That's
We
good.
are publishing, which we kind of went out of our way to change that early on because yeah, yeah, it's the way to
Yeah,
go.
that's a big deal
It is.
because if these other companies get a hold of your records or songs, that's the big thing.
Do you own
Yeah, we do. We own them in the U.S. I don't know about overseas, but we definitely have them. We spent money to get that, and that's been a real important thing for us
Mm-hmm.
because I mean I don't know how many years in the past White Lines was making so much money on us.
Oh,
We weren't
oh.
seeing any of that.
You
So it's
you still don't?
well, a little bit. I mean, we finally they're supposed to pay us for that now in the US. Overseas, I'm not sure, but we have the rights here in America if they use it for anything. So it's been finally we've got some, success from that. But it took a while, this whole thing, but it's worth it to do.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, as I said, I don't see any more compilations. I'm not sure yet. Maybe we've had one with Domino, Grand Royal, and that was back in the '90s. So I don't know. There might be something. We'll see.
Do you still have some unreleased material or?
Well, we have some record. We did some recordings back in 2003, 2009. I don't know. There's unreleased songs there. I don't know if that'll ever come out. That's other guys have to decided they don't know if they like the mixes as much. We didn't really dig deep into those. We just recorded stuff and then let it go. So maybe someday
Was
it'll.
it a similar a style that you as before, like a lot of percussion and
It sounds the same. I mean, it's liquid, liquid.
yeah,
It's when we get together, it becomes something else. Like I do a lot of solo music, but it
yeah.
doesn't sound like Liquid Liquid. Sometimes Sal plays on a number of my songs in the past,
Oh, cool.
and he adds that good effect. But I don't know, when we all four get together, it still sounds the same. I'm sure you guys too. You have
Oh,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's the chemistry of the band, totally. I mean that you have that with those particular people, but yeah. And now it's just Cynthia and I. But Cynthia and I have a chemistry. Like we'll just get together and she'll have some vocals and I'll have some riff that I think is insane, and she'll say, "Oh, I think this fits with that," and
And you start happening.
yeah,
Well, that's with us. We didn't play for 20 years. And then we got together for a jam. We didn't really think about playing live again. And we started playing, and the sound happened again. It was
yeah.
really fascinating
It's
to be
that
part of
chemistry.
something like that. But
It is. It's really a nice thing
it
because
is.
it just happens so naturally, and it's kind of it's rare. I mean, I've played with a lot of different people, so that is a real gift to have that. Yeah.
Now, you have that photography book. Is that still available? Did you do a photography book? No Wave Post Punk? Was that a book you did? Did you do a book, a photograph book, or is that somebody else?
Oh, the No Wave post punk book. That is no, that's Thurston Moore and Byron Cooley.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. But that's a great document of that of No Wave. That's really this period, up to 1980.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the period, right? The 75, 76 to 80 was the real post-punk era.
Yeah, and they're really specifically focusing on No Wave. So it was that little window of about 3 years,
Now,
uh, short
you,
lived.
do you
It's
still
good.
do any? Go ahead.
No, it's a great document of that time. They did a good job.
Now, did you still do anything with Lydia at all? Any music
Um,
with her? Lydia
no,
Lunch?
no, I haven't played music with her. I sort of involved. I did. Oh yeah, we did something way back in the '70s, Queen of Siam,
Right.
and but then there was another band in the '80s that I was in for a second with her,
Hmm,
but didn't it? I wasn't fitting in very well at that moment for
hmm.
various reasons that I could go into, but probably too
Oh,
boring.
okay.
You just like me personally, I was just not at a moment to be doing
No,
anything
okay.
like that. I mean, I had a transition phase that how crazy it was in New York in the late '70s and early
Oh, I
'80s.
imagine.
Everything. So yeah, I had a period where I had to come out of that, and then it was kind of difficult initially to play music without all the substance
Right.
that was fueling a lot of it. I don't know if you guys were doing that, but um and so yeah, it took me a while and
Hmm,
to be able to just, do it with a straight head and completely, sober.
hmm.
Basically.
You know who we really liked back then was Alan Vega. Did you know
Oh yeah,
Alan Vega? He
yeah.
was
Well,
the
yeah.
sweetest guy.
Oh yeah.
He would come to the shows, and we'd talk, and we even met him in Europe one time. He was
Yeah.
on tour at the same time. In fact, we opened up for Sonic Youth once in Hamburg, Germany.
Oh,
And
cool.
I don't know if he was around for that show or one of them. It was like so nice to see somebody from New York area out of the blue. There's Alan Vega.
Right.
He was an amazing guy.
Amazing. And they were, I mean, God, I
Ahead of their
remember.
time, those guys.
Did you see them back in the day in the '70s?
No, I didn't see him. I wish I did.
It was pretty mind blowing because
I
no one
imagine.
did anything like that.
No,
And very cool. Yeah.
so what else? I think that's about it. Unless you want something you want to, do you have a website, or do you have any music you want to promote? I mean, I'll put it on the description after this. Is you
No, I mean, yeah, our new CD, They Live in My Head,
okay?
at Records. We're playing Mosswood Meltdown
Okay,
Festival
I'll put that down.
in
And
July.
that July, okay. And where's
July,
that at? You said?
it's a John Waters festival. He does
Okay,
every year, and it's in Oakland, California.
okay,
And I think that's July 6th and 7th. I think the
okay.
B-52s are the big headliners of that, and they've got a bunch of cool bands. Every year they do.
That's
It's a pretty,
great.
it's a cool festival. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
at least you get to see some people, new groups, and people playing. It's
yeah,
always good to see that.
exactly.
So. and I'm involved with, I know some people from WFMU. This woman, Abby from Mars, is great. And this band, Simon Spine, they're really good. So there's a couple new bands out that I'm in touch with. I guess they're Liquid fans, and I try to help them out a little bit with if they want percussion done or anything here. I have a little studio at my house.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so
Do you produce them?
well, I do basically add percussion, keyboards, whatever somebody wants. And I produced a couple people here on this Primitive Substance collective. Gentleman Brad Kleiman, Ray Bally, who I work with. So we play music together. I produce their records. They've helped me on mine, adding parts. So we're just having fun with it at this point. That's all you can do.
No, for sure. At this point, if it's not fun, why do
That's
it?
right. Exactly. So
Yes.
Pat, thank you for coming on. I appreciate
thank
it.
you, Dennis. Yeah, it was
And
fun.
watch some of the other podcasts. Tim Summers is really good also.
I watched that one. He was amazing.
He is something, right?
What a resource.
Oh,
Yeah.
some of the things he told me I never knew about.
Yeah,
He
that was really interesting.
Yeah, so this is nice to talk to a lot of people and get their feedback from that era. I'm going to try to do more, maybe not as much as I've been doing the past couple of weeks, but I'm going to try to fit in a lot of different people as I go along.
Great. It's great. It's fun. It's a great topic. People seem to be very interested in this, that time period right now.
Oh, yeah. So anyway.
It's pretty interesting. If you can remember.
Oh, yeah. That's true. All right. Well, take care now. Good seeing you.
Too,
Have a good day. Bye-bye now. Thanks again. Bye.